That night, though, Newsweek showed up, Time Magazine showed up. I mean, this is unheard of, never done before. Going into this game, high school around the nation was just localized. You didn't know how good the teams were in California and maybe a little bit in New York, a little bit in Indiana, but everything was kind of localized. They weren't putting them together. They weren't ranking them nationally or anything like that. And can this team on the West Coast beat this team on the East? None of that stuff went on. It just seemed from that moment on, all of a sudden, national rankings started for the first time in a really expanded way. They started crowning national championships more than they had done in the past. And people really became aware of where the great high school teams were around the nation. And it all seemed to just sandwich off this game. Well, I think all over the region, people were really excited about this game. They knew that here comes Power Memorial with 71 wins in a row now. We'd won 29. Our last loss was to Power the year before. So we had a good winning streak going. And we were the number one team in Washington. They were the number one team in New York, obviously. Well, it was a real defensive struggle, real defensive battle, no question. And what we were trying so hard to do was keep the ball away from Lou Alcindor, because he had killed us the year before with 36 points. And we realized that if he had that kind of game again, we had no chance to win. So we had Bob Whitmore playing in front, and depending on where the ball was, we had either Sid Catlett or Bernie Williams playing behind. So we were double teaming him the whole time. And it worked pretty well because he only caught the ball 11 times the whole night. Finished with 16 points, which was the lowest total of his career. He averaged 30, and we held him to 16, and that was the key. I made the mistake the first time of saying, no one person can beat us. We're going to shut out the other four, and we'll play Lou one-on-one. Well, he got 36 points and 20-some rebounds and killed us, even though it was a three-point game. And I said, obviously, we can't win unless we do something about him. So what was really different is the second time, our philosophy was the other four can't beat us. We're going after Kareem, or Lou at the time. And we went after Lou, and it paid off. Our guards, Mickey Wiles, Ernie Olsen, they were doing some great trapping on key passers and dictating where the ball went to keep it away from Lou. And so we all felt like we were in pretty good shape. And my basic thought or statement to them was that defensively we're doing a phenomenal job, but right now we're not hitting as many shots as we would like, but defense was going to decide the game, and let's just keep doing what we're doing. We always substituted. We always went through about 8 players, and because we're good reserves, but we were playing so well and defensively getting the job done just incredibly. I didn't want to fool with it, didn't want to touch with it. You know, not broken, don't fix it. And so we just ended up, as it turned out, not playing, but we just had 5 guys go all the way. Well, the second half, again, the defense continued to be really, really good. And I can remember Mickey Wiles hitting a high jump hook over Lou Alcindor. So the tennis racket kind of paid off that we'd worked together with. And then right at the very end, Sid Catlett came through with a big bucket and a couple of free throws. And we actually pushed out to about a 5 or 6 point lead. I knew we were in good shape. And in fact, I think I turned around to double check. My wife, Kathy, was still there, and she was expecting our first child any moment. And so it was a great wrap-up to a great game. And the most interesting thing, at the end there, I went up to the scores table to double-check that they were out of timeouts. And when I got back to the huddle, Johnny Jones, our great All-Metropolitan from 1962, who went on to play with the Celtics, he's down there coaching the team. I said, Johnny, what are you doing here? And he said, Coach, I got it from here. And everybody busted out laughing, and it was a great night. And we got our team together in the locker room. The year before, they had come over into our locker room to congratulate us on the great game we had played, even though they had won. So I was trying to get our team ready to go over to their locker room and return that type of sportsmanship. But they beat us to it again. They showed up, entered our locker room, led by Lou, and shook everybody's hand and so on and so forth. And it was just a tremendous time. I lit up a cigar, haven't been around Red Auerbach all those years. So I had to do something to celebrate really a tremendous win, tremendous job by our kids. And we all went back to DeMatha and the adults and so on. We had a party and went pretty late that night, as I recall. Well, it feels great, obviously, that we did something that no one ever else was able to do. And it certainly was a, as I say, turning point, I think, in high school basketball throughout the nation. No, and that makes us feel pretty good that we played a part in that. Well, certainly I can't think of anything that I would rank ahead of it. I've always made it a point not to compare. People say, who was your best player, or well, I don't want to say Adrian Dantley was our best player. I just say no one was better than Adrian. He's in the Hall of Fame now and all that, 15 years in the pro. So same thing with this event. Certainly never associated with a greater event in basketball. And very, very special. And what it did for our team, our school, it was awesome. But what it did for high school basketball in general throughout the nation, that was terrific too. Well, I'll tell you, one way you can really see the impact it had, to this day, if you go to anybody that was of high school age at that time and said, what's one of the best athletic events that you ever saw or heard about? 99% will tell you the Power Memorial Game. And I get it wherever I go. Unbelievable. I did clinics in Taiwan, and I had a DeMatha shirt on. I had a person come up to me and said, I was at the Power Game. Yeah, I think without a doubt, it really put us on the upswing, no question. The people that wanted to come to DeMatha after that, it was unbelievable. Even our enrollment went up. We probably had about 400 at the time. We're close to 1,000 now. And but from that moment on, the word DeMatha had a real special meaning to it. And we always like to say today that there's only one DeMatha. And the Power Game was a big part of that.